what I took away from what you said was that it wasn't just the ambition you had, you knew who you were, the authentic self. And I think that's one of the things that's really missing, just generally, but women especially. Like, how do we get women to really uncover who they are so they can figure out what they'd like to accomplish?
I think it's a great question. I think, truthfully, that it is an issue for men and women. I think women just have kind of more openings now, more options, and we haven't been raised to be so narrowly focused, right? You know, so I think it's an issue for both. The other thing I would say is that I didn't just have ambition. I do think that a lot of very, very successful people are forged in hardship, and that is hard to tell a young woman that if you want to be great, it may be hard, right? That you may struggle or suffer, right? I don't think that I would have been so driven to go through everything I went through if I in my belly was just like warm and content and felt loved and felt special because my home life when I was 10 had been perfect, right? So I don't want anybody to like think, okay, like now I can be a bad parent and I'm gonna like crush my kids' dreams and that's why they're gonna really be great, right? That is not the message I'm trying to send. But I do think that creating drive and ambition and really letting men and women do the hard work, because the truth is, it is actually hard. And the reason we don't do it is because we're all, like, it's easier to be busy than it actually is to know about yourself. And so I told you earlier that I like to have about 4 hours a week that are mine. And my husband, he laughs, I have a slew of self-help books. I have always been a self-help book fan in the sense that it just makes me think about things in a different way, right? So I use those 4 hours to reflect, to really pick myself apart. I also ask for a lot of feedback. I think what we need to do is we need to listen to our daughters when they are younger. This starts really young, and it's hard to fix once you've already gotten past like kind of 12 on, it's already set. Are you ambitious? Do you believe in your gut that you are smart? Have people told you that you're smart? One of the things about boarding school that was phenomenal for me was, and the same with the Girl Scouts, was because my family struggled to accept who I was. The Girl Scout summer camp was the first place I ever went that it was great to be me. I could just be me. Nobody cared who I was, what my name was, whatever. Nobody cared I was 300 years in Pennsylvania, whatever. It's like, it was just me. And then boarding school, all the things I was artistic, I was creative, I was smart. Those things were celebrated at school. So the best thing that happened to me was getting out of my home and going to school, where the things that were my gifts, people actually said, that's awesome. They didn't say, stop raising your hand. You guys didn't want to sit in the front? I guarantee you there was never a class I did not sit in the front. Partly because I was so blind, but partly because I wanted to comment on every class, right? If the teacher had, whatever, I had a question about every class, right? 500 people at UVA in a big auditorium, I still had a question, right? And I would raise my hand. He may never have called on me because he didn't call on anybody in a 500-person lecture room, right? But I still sat in the front row and raised my hand if I had a question. I think it's about figuring out, really watching and listening and exposing your kids early to a lot of different things, and then celebrating and just telling them how great they are, because you've got to start building that early. Once we're at our age, right, or not our age, sorry. Once we're like your age and your age, so everybody in their 30s, let's call it in the 30s, right? I think it really, really helps to have some reflection time. And I actually do recommend the books, the career books, like What Color is Your Parachute? How many of you, this is like an oldie but a goodie. Has anybody here under 50 read What Color is Your Parachute? No.
Now, hold on, over 50, who's read it?
I love this. Okay, so then back me up here. Those who raise their hand, I actually think the exercises in that book are really great for you to have to think through. What do you want? Who do you want to be? What are your unique gifts, right? And so as my dear friend Vicki here said the other day, you need to bring on Power Perry, right? It's like, because in corporate, I have to keep Power Perry a little bit to the side because you can't be a sole star in a corporation. You need to play on a team. But there's a lot of people who can play on a team. In different venues, there aren't that many people who are really willing to move to Russia and like on the plane, read the manual, and then just go figure it out, right? That's the badass Perry that not everybody can be. So you've got to figure out how to play to your strengths. And I encourage everybody to read books like that, spend some time with yourself, figure out who you are, and then stop worrying about, there might be derailers, know what they are, decide which ones you can fix and that you will fix. But man, to use Cheryl Sever, lean into the things you are great at, right? Because I'm not necessarily a fan of that, but that message about lean in and do what you are great at, what is your superpower? I think that is really good advice.